The most extreme car on this ladder was delivered 7 years ago, and Porsche hasn't built a replacement since. 7 levels of Porsche GT, road-legal track cars from Weissach with Nürburgring laps signed off by a notary, and the newest one on this list is nowhere near the best one on it. Level 1, 718 Cayman GT4, the cheapest ticket into Porsche's motorsport division. Porsche GT is a department, the one that puts the GT3 badge on a 911, a group at the Weissach Development Center, run by Andreas Pruninger, building road cars out of race car parts. The engine is a 4-liter flat 6 cylinders lying flat behind your back, and it's naturally aspirated. No turbochargers. It breathes on its own, so the power lands the instant your foot asks for it, up to about 8,000 RPM. Further up, there's a version that spins to 9,000, where most road cars give up at 6 or 7. It turns up in 5 of the 7 levels. Here, it sits behind the seats, where it does the least damage to how the car turns. 6 cylinders, 3 pedals, a sticker under $100,000, and 188 miles an hour with no turbos and nothing electric. The myth? Entry level means the watered-down one. Backwards. The GT4 is the recipe at its clearest, before wings and lap records start bending it out of shape. This one goes to the buyer who did the reading, skipped the badge everyone photographs, and bought the layout instead. Tell me in the comments which level you'd actually drive. Not the one you'd photograph. We both know that's the one with the wing. Level 2, 718 Cayman GT4 RS, where the Cayman stops being the junior car and starts robbing the 911. Pruninger's own words, the engine is completely GT3. It is not detuned. The mid-engine car got the 911 GT3's 9,000 RPM 4-liter whole. It gives up 9 horsepower, 493 against 502, and all 9 live in the plumbing, a re-roaded intake, and an exhaust threading around the drive shafts. Pruninger reckoned the honest gap was nearer 5. The GT4 RS owner bought the 911's engine without paying 911 money. He will mention that. The loudest car here isn't a 911, it's this one. The air intakes sit where the rear quarter windows would be, so what fills this cabin isn't exhaust noise, it's the engine breathing in 18 inches from your skull. RS is Rennsport Racing Sport, and it's supposed to promise more power and a manual. Not here. Like every modern RS model, the new 718 GT4 RS is exclusively available with the Porsche dual-clutch transmission, PDK. 2 clutches taking turns, so the next gear's already in before you finish the last one. The harder version of the stick shift car has no stick. What it does have is 7 minutes, 9.300 seconds around the Nordschleife, the 20.83 2-kilometer Nürburgring lap every carmaker sits as an exam. Jörg Bergmeister drove it. 2021, 23.6 seconds clear of the GT4. Fit the Manthe kit, road car hardware from Porsche's own race partner, and that fell to 7 minutes, 3.121 seconds on the same lap. Bergmeister again, July 2023. Notice I gave you a lap length with both of those and a date. Porsche once published 2 different times for the same lap. I'll show you that one at the top. Level 3, 718 Spyder RS, the department's only open-topped RS, and it refuses to be the soft option. Same 9,000 RPM engine family. Fabric roof, no fixed wing. It looks like the pretty, slower one. It hits 60 in 3.2 seconds. The GT4 RS Coupe takes 3.4 to 100 kilometers an hour. Different yardsticks, I know. Porsche's European figures put it at 1,410 kilos under the coupe and 40 kilos below a PDK 718 Spyder. The American release quotes that saving differently. Spyder RS buyers want the whole engine and the sky above it, and they don't much mind that the coupe looks faster standing still. That's the loudest naturally aspirated engine the department builds, now in open air. Level 4, and we cross to the 911, the GT3, plus its wingless twin, the Touring. The front axle is a double wishbone, 2 triangular arms per wheel. It's what race cars run because it keeps the tire flat while the body leans. Porsche calls it derived from the 911 RSR and 911G T3 Cup cars and adapted for road use. Then says flatly that the new GT3 suspension does not share any parts with the current 911 Carrera models. So no GT isn't a badge glued onto a Carrera. 502 horsepower with no turbochargers, 9,000 RPM, and your pick of a PDK or a 6-speed manual. In 2026, which is an absurd sentence, Torque actually came down this generation 470 Newton meters to 450. Torque is the shove out of a corner. Horsepower is the noise at the end of the straight. Porsche hasn't said why. They did shorten the final drive by 8%. That's the gearing between gearbox and wheels. Then 2025. Bergmeister took one round the same 20.832 kilometer lap in 6 minutes, 56.294 seconds, 6-speed manual, Weissach package, changing gear with his own arm. Porsche claims the fastest manual transmission production car ever round there by more than 9.5 seconds and 3.633 seconds quicker than the outgoing PDK car. The stick beat the paddles. The GT3 lists at $222,500 before destination, and published delivered prices don't agree, so call it around $225,000. A 911 Turbo S starts at $270,300. Faster, more powerful, easier, newer, about $48,000 more. The price goes down, the desire goes up. If the wing embarrasses you, the Touring deletes it. Same engine, same chassis, same money with a pop-up spoiler and a small upturned lip called a gurney flap doing the work out of sight. And for the first time, a car built by the racing department offers rear seats. The GT3 owner isn't proving anything to enthusiasts anymore. He's proving it to himself at 7 in the morning. That's the honest stopping point. Everything above it is want, not need. I'm going up anyway. Level 5, 911 GT3 RS, where GT stops pretending to be a road car. It launched at $223,800, a rounding error above the GT3 you just met. That buys the first road-legal Porsche fitted with DRS, the Formula One trick where the wing flattens on the straights so the air stops holding you back. Under emergency braking, it slams the other way and becomes an air brake. Downforce is air pressing the car into the road so the tires grip harder. Here, that's 409 kilos at 200 kilometers an hour, 860 kilos at 285. A small hatchback parked on the roof, and none of it exists until you're going fast enough to earn it. Porsche reckons that's twice its predecessor and 3 times a current GT3. The wing hangs off 2 curved stalks, the swan neck, which keeps the air underneath clean, and its top edge sits higher than the roof. The radiator's now one big unit lifted from the Le Mans winning 911 RSR, mounted where your luggage should go, so the front arches are free for venting louvres, and the front suspension arms are teardrop-shaped wings that make downforce by themselves. Suspension, making downforce. Buying one means explaining that wing in every car park. A few buy it precisely for that. It's slower than the GT3 flat out, 184 miles an hour, because air that presses down also pushes back. But over 20.832 kilometers of Nordschleife on 13th October 2022, Bergmeister put it round in 6 minutes, 49.328 seconds, 10.6 seconds inside the GT3. Level 6, 911 ST. The anti-RSR. It gets more extreme by taking things off. It takes the GT3 RS's 518 horsepower, 9,000 RPM flat 6, and finally bolts a 6-speed manual behind it. The first time that engines come with 3 pedals. The clutch runs a single-mass flywheel, 1 solid disc instead of 2 sprung halves. Harsher at idle, roughly 23 pounds less spinning metal to wind up and slow down. The final drive shortens again. Carbon fiber replaces the hood, the roof, the front fenders, the doors, the rear anti-roll bar, and the rear shear pan. Magnesium wheels come standard. And Porsche deleted the rear axle steering, a system that turns the back wheels a degree or two to help the car pivot. Not for purity, to save weight, and they said so out loud. Which makes it the lightest 992 generation 911 ever built. 3,056 pounds, 70 under a manual GT3 Touring. Then the market got involved. It cost $290,000. Porsche built 1,963 of them. And recorded sales have run from about $347,000 up to about $806,000. I'm not giving you an average because nobody credible publishes one. By this rung, knowing the cars stops being enough. You also have to be known by the right dealer. The brief is purist all the way through, even if plenty of them ended up somewhere with a dehumidifier. The Sport Classic and the Spirit 70, turbocharged and built by Porsche's personalization studio rather than the racing department, so no rung. The Carrera GT is a different bloodline from a different era. The Cup cars, the GT3R, the RSR, and the GT4 RS Club Sport were bought and delivered, but they're race cars with no number plate. Level 7 911 GT2 RS. The top of this ladder is the oldest car on it, delivered in 2018 and 2019, and nothing has replaced it since. It's the only turbocharged rung, a 3.8-liter twin-turbo flat 6, 2 turbines spun by the exhaust to cram extra air in. 700 PS in Porsche's numbers, that's metric horsepower, 553 pound-feet, rear-wheel drive only, PDK only, 211 miles an hour. On 20th September 2017, it went round the 20.6-kilometer Nordschleife in 6 minutes, 47.3 seconds, Lars Kern driving with Nick Tandy, sharing duties. Nobody buys one now to learn anything about driving. They buy it because it can't be bought new. Now, that loop I owe you. In 2019, the Nordschleife's official lap length changed from 20.6 kilometers to 20.832, so old times and new can't be stacked into one list. The Manthey-kitted GT2 RS ran 6 minutes, 43.300 seconds over 20.832 kilometers on 14th June 2021. Porsche published 6 minutes, 38.835 seconds for that exact lap measured the old way. One car, one lap, 2 numbers, 4.5 seconds apart. Anyone ranking ring times without telling you which yardstick they used is selling you something. So, how does a 7-year-old turbo car still hold first place? On 18th May 2026, at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta, Porsche ran 3 GT Porsches back-to-back, all 3 wearing the Manthey kit. The GT2 RS went 1 minute, 22.649 seconds. The GT3 RS, 1 minute, 23.932 seconds. The newest GT3, 1 minute, 24.639 seconds. Same kit, same track, same day. The old one still won. That's what this ladder actually rewards. Porsche GT doesn't hand the top spot to the newest rumor, the rarest build slot, or the cleanest spec sheet progression. It goes to whatever got built, made legal for the road, and handed to somebody with a key.